The recent controversy that some have called ClimateGate is, to me, is a scientific sin by a small part of climate change scientific community. If you want to look at the temperature for a long time in the past, the thermometers only existed for about 200 years. So if I want to go look at what the temperature was like 1,000 years ago, I have to go find a proxy. And so one of the things they've used is tree rings. But recently, the tree ring data has not agreed with the thermometer data. What these people did is they decided that they would eliminate the tree ring data for the last 40 years. Now, why is this a scientific sin? If you don't have a good reason to reject some data, you're in big danger of letting your prejudices control the evidence. Fortunately, their rejection of what went on in the last 40 years had no influence in what the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change used in their analysis. So the IPCC report of 2007, which is the most recent one, didn't have this stuff factored in. But was it a scientific sin? You bet. Right now, they use so much platinum catalysts in the fuel cell that all the platinum mined in the entire world is only enough for 10 million fuel cell cars per year. That's it. Then there's a problem of making the hydrogen in the first place. Well, the people who are fond of fuel cells say you should use nuclear power to make the hydrogen. And I smile and I say, look, you're going to take electrons from a power plant and you're going to make hydrogen. Then you take the hydrogen and you're going to ship it someplace. Then you take the hydrogen, you're going to put it in a car, and you're going to put it in a fuel cell, and the fuel cell makes electrons, and you can run the electric motors that run the car. But I have these wires that go from the power plant to my garage. Why do I need all these middlemen? Why don't I just take the electrons and plug them straight into the batteries in my car? If you want to have a few beautiful Hollywood starlets drive around in your fuel cell car, you can go do that. But if you're talking about a car that everybody's going to use, as of now, it's complete nonsense. It doesn't say that it's always nonsense, but it does say the best thing for hydrogen fuel cells now is to ship it back to the laboratory and see if you can solve some of these problems. I've looked at all sorts of ways to generate electricity with less emissions, and if you look at all of those ways, nuclear power is one of the most effective. The opponents of nuclear have a whole bunch of issues, and those issues have to be dealt with. Those issues are safety, radiation, costs, proliferation, spent fuel. What are you going to do with them? Safety, we have an extraordinarily good record with nuclear power. The worst accident in the world was Chernobyl. Chernobyl is a kind of reactor that's never been allowed in the West. Our reactors all have containments. So 3 Mile Island, which melted the core of a reactor, released practically no radiation. Spent fuel is a political issue, not a technical issue. We know perfectly well how to deal with it. Yucca Mountain is perfectly satisfactory. Well, perfectly satisfactory. The DOE guys said it was satisfactory. They sent the application in to license it to the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. They were going to look at it and say yes or no, but the administration has stopped that process for political reasons. Nuclear is much better than coal. It's better than natural gas. It's quite comparable to solar, and the only thing better is wind.